Hello, everyone. Good night. Good night. All right, so we are getting ready to begin our next episode, Money Mindfulness, with our licensed financial consultant, Rotendo Grace Dube. All right, so all right, let me see if
Hi,
hi. How
how
are
are
you
you?
doing?
I'm
I
good.
am very. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Let's
um,
start
I'm just
going.
I'm doing great. I'm out and about today, so I'm just gonna connect from here. um, just at Grove Town having a ladies' night. So I was like, okay, I'll just join when I'm here.
Interesting. That is fantastic. So I hope that the month has been going well for you so far. All
Mhm.
right. Okay. And today I would like for you to introduce our topic to our viewers. What is it that we'll be talking about on this amazing night?
All right, so tonight, welcome once again, everyone. And tonight we're going to be talking about long-term financial goals. So these are anything from above 1 year and onwards kind of deal, right? So anything onwards that you want to save for the long term, that is what we are going to be talking about mostly. Yeah.
Right. And if I remember correctly, last week we spoke about short-term goals. So
Hmm.
people, if you have not seen that, please head on to our last live and you can be up to speed
Yeah.
as it relates to that.
Hmm.
Now, today we'll be talking about long-term goals, and Grace just wonderfully told us what exactly that is, just in case you haven't heard about that. Now you know what long-term financial goals are.
Yeah.
So to continue, what do you want us to understand about the difference between short-term financial goals and long-term financial goals?
So short-term financial goals is something that you want to achieve very fast, within a year or so, right? And these are, for example, you can say within 1 year, I want to have cleared my debt, so to say, right? If that is like if you don't have so much debt on your plate, so for example, if you have a credit card with 5,000 and you're like, okay, by the end of this year, I want to have cleared off that 5,000 from my debt, right? And another short-term goal would be like, okay, I want to build 1,000 towards my emergency fund. So that can be another goal that you can be on a short-term goal, right? So now comparing them to a long-term goal, the long-term goals are a little bit longer, right? Which can include saving for your house, saving for maybe a car that you want to pay cash right off, right? And even like saving for your children's education as well.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so very much for enlightening us about that. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so what's why exactly are long-term goals important? So we know that there are goals that take more than a year for you to accomplish, but why are they important for us to have?
All right. So they are important for us to have because they actually help us prepare for the future, right? For example, if you are saving for retirement, right? They help you to ensure that when you get to into retirement age or retirement time, you have enough stash as set aside to make sure that you continue living the lifestyle that you want to live, right? As well, like in the future, if you have kids, it will also help you to ensure that your kids won't need to go the route of getting maybe student loans and get into debt for their education and all that kind of stuff. And even if they don't get to go to school, they decide a different path, at least that amount is already set aside and they can be able to use it maybe towards their own first home as well, right? But that will be something that is there and available for them. So the importance is for people to actually be able to secure, their future in, in that regard with their financial goals and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so very much. So, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages, if any, for having long-term financial goals?
Okay, so for the long-term financial goals, mostly, right, you get to create a greater impact, right? For you're saving for a long time, and usually they are like big goals. So once you achieve it, so for example, once you get a house that you've been anticipating to get or were planning for, right? That's a big goal and that's a greater impact, right? As well, it can also improve like increase the security for because you are actually like saving, especially if you are saving for your retirement, right? You have confidence and you won't be scared about what is going to come in the future as well, right? And it also helps like with better planning because this is the future goal, right? So you have so much time that you can plan towards it and advance your goals towards that as well. And some of the some of the disadvantages will be like because it's like there's no instant gratification. Sometimes it may be a challenge to people, right? Because it takes a long time to get that gratification, so to say, or to get to that goal, right? So some people may easily get discouraged along the way, right? And the other thing is like sometimes some people feel like it's so difficult to achieve because it takes so much time and effort
Mhm.
to work on long-term goals, right? So it might be so challenging for most of the people. So those are some of the disadvantages because they can tend to, derail someone's plans if they don't stay focused on them, or maybe they can get discouraged because, they are not getting that quick, instant gratification, so to say.
Definitely, and for those persons who, let me just say, it's not necessarily that they might get discouraged so easily, but sometimes they just like lose their focus, especially because, they're not able to accomplish it so quickly because it is a long-term goal. It will take a couple of years for you to be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might, for example, okay, retirement is so far ahead. I probably don't need to start saving for that now or making plans for that now. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of things that we also need to, pay attention to, not just retirement, but I was doing a bit of research. And of course, you have to be paying off your student loans and stuff like that. But also, sometimes you need to make arrangements for when you're older. I even wrote it down here somewhere. But it has to do with, okay, yeah, long-term care options. So when you're
Mm.
older, you might need someone to, come help you to take care of you, to do things that you're able to do right now fairly easily, without much effort. But after a while, you might even need somebody to help you to do grocery shopping, and you have to remember that these people will need payments. So you gotta be doing that plan for your long-term financial goals from now, when you're younger and having an income and all that. So something else that we'd like to know is, emergency funds. What's the importance of that? Because some people they think, oh, you just need like a tad bit of money and that's enough for an emergency. But how much exactly should we look forward to gathering or accumulating for an emergency fund, one that is sturdy enough that will actually be able to, be helpful
Yeah.
who need it? What does that look like?
Okay, so as a rule of thumb, your emergency fund should be like at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. If it can cover that, at least that's a good starting point. You can have more in it, but at least that is a good starting point, right? And it's really important to actually start thinking about, if you haven't started doing so, to actually start working on having those like building your emergency savings plan as well, because it also helps with your overall financial goals as well. Because say for example you encounter an incident, or maybe there's an emergency, maybe with your health, or maybe with your car, or maybe with your home, like some some major fixes that need to be done, right? So if you don't have that, let's call it a buffer right there, right? Where are you going to find the money to use to take care of those emergencies, right? So there are many different options that people can talk about. They can say, okay, I have been saving towards my retirement, so I can pull some of that money from there, or maybe I could take a loan from the bank and all that kind of stuff, and that's going into debt towards, fixing that. Or maybe they're going to say, I will use my credit card and all that kind of stuff, right? So those are, yes, they are options, but are they the best option for you, right? Because as we all know, it's good to stay away from debt as much as possible, right? So having that emergency fund will really help towards ensuring that at least you have a buffer to cater for those things, so that they don't disrupt the plans that you already have in place. But sometimes you end up like in that situation, and you be like, okay, I no longer have money to put aside, maybe towards my retirement or towards this other goal. Why? Because you are now focusing on this emergency that you have, right? So all the resources are now being pulled towards that emergency that you have. But if you had pulled funds together to have this emergency fund, hey, if a medical issue comes up, you have that buffer already to fall back on, right? If your car breaks down, or you need new tires or something like that, you have that buffer and you can go do that, right? Or maybe you need a major, you are in your maybe a quick renovation project, you can also do that as well, right? No problem, because you have that buffer. So that's some of the importance that you as an individual or as a family have to be thinking about, having an emergency fund.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so very much. And right here we have a question from a viewer, Diva Oakley. Diva is asking, can you share an option to achieve a short-term financial goal?
All right. So like, it depends on whatever goal that you have, right? So say, for example, you want to say, I want to save $500 over the next 5 months, right? I'm just going to keep it simple for calculation purposes and stuff, right? So if you have that goal to say, okay, I want to save 500 over the 5 months, right? You start to look at, okay, so based on your current capacity, right? Do you have an extra amount to set aside towards that goal, right? So the option would then be, okay, one, if you have that extra every month, you can say, okay, to get to 500 in 5 months, I need to set aside $100 per month, and that will get me to that goal, right? Or maybe if your money is seasonal and is not like, maybe you get money every 2 months kind of deal. Maybe can you save maybe 250 every 2 months towards that goal, so that by the time you get there, it will be you have that, right? If you don't have extras, right, every month from your current income, another option would then be to look into should you be finding another job? Should you be finding something that can give you income? Maybe there are so many jobs online. There are so many popping up opportunities that you can do online as well, right? Maybe if you are interested in writing a book, is there an option that you can, quickly, put out a book right there that you have been sitting on for the longest time, and maybe generate some income from it, right? Or maybe like something that is very, very simple and easy out there. Maybe sign up to be an associate, maybe in like my associate marketer or something like that, right? And just pull some of the info, or someone who's interested in maybe YouTube kind of deal. If you are interested in creating content and all that kind of stuff, create content, put it out there, so that you have an opportunity to get some income somewhere, somehow, right? Because you need that income if you don't already have it. You have to find options to create that. Or help somebody, like say, I'm going to babysit for all my friends that have babies, call them up and say, hey, I'm available to babysit for your kids. If you want to go for a date night or something like that, that's generating income for yourself, right? Some people, they're so busy and all that kind of stuff. They might need help cleaning their house. You can offer that as an option, as a service that you can offer, So those are some of the options that you can think about so that you can create that income if you don't already have that. If you have that in abundance, right? Say, for example, maybe you already have extra more than $500 for you every month. Hey, you are going to just, cough up that $500 towards your goal anyways, right? But this is for, like, because people are at different levels, right?
Mhm.
So just plan with what really works for you as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what would be some other examples of long-term financial goals? So we looked at retirement, we looked at maybe a mortgage, college funds. What else would persons be looking at when you talk about long-term financial goals?
Oh, I'm just laughing at Sandy's comment here. It says, babies will not go home. I think I like the house cleaning option. uh, Good for you, right? Whatever works for you. Okay, so back to your question. So some of the examples, yes, we did look at saving for your retirement, right? And we did look at saving for kids' education, right? And the other thing is, like, if you have a major vacation that you want to plan, maybe in the next 5 years, maybe you want to take the whole family to Disneyland and spend maybe a month there or something like that, or maybe you want to go travel around the world. It's possible, right? If you plan for it, right, and execute your plan towards that goal, if you have that, that can be another major goal, long-term goal that you can actually have as well. You can say, okay, you know what? I want to plan for being totally debt-free, right? So, for example, if you had a mortgage, you had some credit cards, and you have student loan that was there, it can be part of your plan as well, and some of your long-term goals to say, hey, I want to become debt-free within the next maybe 6 years, right? And then you then maybe set out to say, okay, these are the different debts that I actually have, right? Put them down, right? And detail how much is in each one of them, right? And then you start making your plan to say, okay, starting from now, like, and based on the timeline that I'm giving myself, how much can I actually start giving or setting aside towards that goal, right? And if it's a longer term goal, right, when you are saving that money, right, think about what are the options that you have within your bank or your financial institution that you can put when that amount that you're setting aside can actually grow interest on it, right? So you can think about that as an option so that it also helps you towards that goal. Because if it's a long-term goal, right, you can have the money work harder for you as well, right, at the same time, right? So that's the beauty about long-term goals, because you can, like, with the shorter-term goals, sometimes if you want to work with investments and all that kind of stuff, it's a short time frame that is not enough to really get, like, the results, because you don't want to be gambling with your life or with your money or anything like. So you want to if you want to gamble, there are people who do that and go into stocks and all that kind of stuff. Like, if people like to gamble with their money, fine, right? But then for the long term, you'd want to make sure that you are putting proper plans in place to ensure that you're not gambling with your family future as well, right? So those are some of the long-term financial goals that people can save for, including maybe if they want to say, okay, I want to put down like almost half whatever will be my mortgage amount, right? So instead of saying, oh, just a small down payment, they'll say, okay, I want to save towards half of what my mortgage payment should be, right? So that's another good long-term goal.
Oh, interesting. Amazing tips. Thank you so very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, what tips do you have for persons who they have a whole lot of financial goals, long-term financial goals to conquer, and they just don't think that they can make it, like something will have to get left behind. What do you have to say to those people?
In
Like, should they just toss something away, or should they strategize, and how can you help them to do that?
Just like you said, they should strategize, right? If it's important to you, you find a way, right? If it's a goal that is important to you, yeah, you can put it down, right, and start planning for it, right? And you can also prioritize your list. So if you have so many, put them like maybe on a sheet of paper, right? And then prioritize what is really, really important for you. But sometimes we tend to discourage ourselves when we go for so many goals at the same time. And because our energy is so divided into so many directions, right? We are not reaching anything like quickly enough, right? And that may be discouraging, right? So if you prioritize to say, maybe if I start with this one because I'm so passionate about it and I love it, and maybe it's shorter than the others, right? And you prioritize that and focus all your energies towards that, and you find some victories, some successes, and all that kind of stuff with this goal. Guess what? You're going to be encouraged to take on another goal, right? And so on and go on like that, right? Rather than trying to do everything at once and, actually fail at everything, so to say, right? There are other people, I will not be kind of all conclusive. There are other people that are able to do multitask and all that kind of stuff because they are really good at organizing themselves and keeping themselves organized and keeping themselves motivated. For those people, if it works for them, fine. But for the general public or most of the people, they would benefit more in actually putting a list down of all the goals that they really desire to see accomplished, right? And then just start tackling one by one, put a plan in place to just start tackling them one by one.
Okay, all right. That does make a lot of sense. So people, I hope that you're taking this, because these things are just fantabulous. All right. So do you believe that at different points in your life that you'd have different financial goals that you would focus on more, for example, in your 20s, in your 30s, 40s and 50s, and so on? And what might these goals look like for individuals in those age groups?
All right. Yeah, so as we grow up, right, we do have different goals in life and different dreams, and sometimes like you are inspired in a certain direction at any given point, right? So depending on where you are at, in general, I'm just going to speak in general because we are totally different people. What I love may be totally different from what you love, right? So I'm just going to just talk generic here. So some of the things that you can work on is like, okay, when you are younger, right, in your 20s and all that kind of stuff, what you want to do is to start thinking about your retirement, because when you are now almost 60, that's late to start thinking about your retirement. But if you're already there, like whatever you can do towards that will still be something than nothing. But the earlier, the better. So in your early 20s, 30s, you want to start thinking about your retirement goals. And in that, like in your early years, when you start your family, when you start your families and stuff like that, whatever age that is, right, you want to also start thinking about, putting plans in place for your kids' education, right? Your kids' education, as well as some protection in place as well, right? Because during that time that you have kids and all the kind of stuff, they're still young, right? So if you also make sure that you put maybe life insurance in place, right, that you can use as a tool, right, as a financial tool. And I won't talk deep about this, but you can also think about like you can ask your financial advisor to talk to more about, having like life insurance as a tool for your children, right? As well as you can find that many times you have like as the kids are growing as well, right? They may get sick along the way, right? So when they get sick and you have to stay home with them, or you have to leave work, or maybe be absent from work for a little time to take care of their needs and all that kind of stuff, right? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, what is going to happen? it's going to affect you, because bills will not stop coming, right? And they will still need to be paid and all that kind of stuff. And you don't want that to be a stress over your life. So the earlier you have life insurance, critical illness on your kids and all that kind of stuff, the better, because if that is happening, God forbid it happens, but if that is to happen, that will be a stress-free kind of, like, not stress-free as per se, because there will be other stresses apart from financial, but at least on your financial aspect, at least you can be able to confidently set aside time to just care for your family in that period where you are, when you can have your mind is clear, because most of the times finances can, put a wrench on somebody's health kind of deal, right? And when you are already dealing with another health situation, and then you have to deal with, all these bills coming at you, and you are struggling to pay them, so there are options that we can bulletproof ourselves, so to say, bulletproof ourselves for the future, right? The future unknowns, right? It's better for you to say, okay, I wasted my money, paying for this insurance policy and all that kind of stuff, and it never paid up. Celebrate, because, hey, you were healthy and you were protected and everything is going well and you are alive, right? But if something the opposite is to happen, hey, you are going to have at least maybe a lump sum that is paid out to you or your family, and there is protection in that time of need as well, right? Yeah, so those are some of the different things that you may think about at different ages, right? When you're a little bit getting older, you want to think about retirement and all that kind of stuff, or maybe if you have a business, you want to think about succession planning and all that kind of stuff, right? So, okay, in my plan, I have to think about, okay, so once I'm gone, this business that I have, that I'm working so hard, sweating for, right? Is it going to end as soon as I just drop down or I decide to go out? Or do you have a continuity plan in place to say, okay, I want my business to be able to thrive even in my absence, even when I'm no longer there, right? Is it your family that is going to take over? Is it a friend? Is it someone else that is going to take over? Those are some of the things that you have to think about and also consider for your future plan as well.
Okay. Wow, fantastic. A lot to take in, but it is amazing information. We have another question here from Diva. She's asking, what tips do you have for persons who are starting from scratch? And when she says from scratch, as in you just got a job, you're drowning in debt, you don't have any savings, that's a very chaotic scene right there. But what tips do you have for such a person?
Okay, so it's like anything else, just put a plan in place. Write down everything that you have, right? So whatever income that you're going to be getting for your job, from your job, right? Put it down, all the expenses that you have coming, whether it's bills, payment for your house, housing situation, and all that kind of stuff. Put that down as well, right? So like everything that is like maybe all the expenses that come every month kind of deal, right? So when you have that set aside and all that kind of stuff, and you see, okay, this is my income, these are my expenses that are ongoing, right? Then is look at that situation, say, is there any extra money that is there, right? If there is extra money, then you can then prioritize to say, okay, like putting it some of it towards debt and put some of it towards savings. If there's no extra, just look at your situation, see and consider if another part-time job might be practical for you or not. If not, or what are some of the other helps? And if you also talk to your financial advisor as well, they may be able to help you, because there are some debt resolution options that are out there that can help you depending on where you are at, and if they work for you or not. It depends. So you have to like talk to a financial advisor that can help you in that regard, because you might be able to have a plan in place that may help you to reset your financial life kind of deal in ways it's possible, and it's an option that is out there. So make sure you ask someone. I can't like talk all the details right there, because some of these you need some specialists for that, but there are some options that are there. So if it's available, like if you qualify for those options, I think it would be good for you to take advantage of it if it works within your financial plan as well.
Wow, amazing. So now to wrap up, I'd like for you to just tell our viewers, those persons who believe that they might not need to start their long-term financial goals right now. They're in a wonderful job that pays well, they're living comfortably, probably don't have any kids right now to be saving for any funds, healthy as a horse. They don't need, to be thinking about going to the hospital anytime soon. What
Mhm.
word of advice do you have for these persons to have this kind of way of thinking right about now?
Okay, I would just remind them that life has a way of reminding us that we don't have it all and we are not gods above above our heads or above our families or anything like that, or above our health and all that kind of stuff. Because how many people do they know? They just have to think about the people that they know that just got diagnosed with a critical illness from Norway, who was healthy, going to gym every time and all that kind of stuff, and they just got health like diagnosed and they're sick. And how many people did they know that left their house in the morning and didn't come back because they passed away with an accident or something like that, and left a family? Maybe if they didn't have life insurance, they left the family without money, without income, and all that kind of stuff. How many do they know around them, just around them? That's how life also reminds us that we have to plan for the future and the future unknowns, right? And there are things that can help you to bulletproof. I'm saying in quotes, right? Because sometimes you can't do it entirely, but you can do something. Something is better than nothing towards your goals as well, right? So you can definitely do that as well. Yeah, so those are some of the things that people can think about and also do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tonight's session has incredible as is always is with
Mm-hmm.
our licensed financial consultant, Rutenda Grace Doobie. Thank you so very much. Now
You're welcome.
let us out. Thank you, thank you. Let us shout out some persons who joined our live tonight. So of course we have Grace Rue One Biz, which is yours truly there, who we've been talking to tonight. We have Diva Oakley dot her movie. I hope I'm not saying that name incorrectly. Then we have F Chicks, who has tuned in. We have CM Stylistic Salon. Oh, amazing. And the chat has just been bubbling tonight. We also have Live Well with Maxine, who joined the live. And thank you so very much, everyone. Now, Grace, please remind us how we can find you, how can we get in contact with you if we need to talk to you about anything that has to do with finances.
All right, so you can find me on Facebook, Rutendo Grace Dube. You can find me there, Grace Dube Chikore. You can find me there. I'm also on Instagram, and Grace Rue One Bees underscore finance, or just Grace Rue One. You can find me on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, and I'm also on YouTube. And I just recently posted some new videos on my YouTube channel. So make sure you go subscribe, watch, and like as well, and share with others as well. Connect with me even on LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I would love to hear from you. And if you are in Canada, I would love to connect with you. If you're looking for a financial advisor, I'll be happy to help you or connect you to someone that can help you that is closest to you as well.
Wow. Amazing. You see, Grace is on all these platforms, so wherever you are, she is there too. So reach out and get your questions answered.
Yeah.
Once again, Grace, thank you so very much. It has been amazing just learning all about long-term goals with you. And we cannot wait for our next session, which will be the first Sunday in the month of June.
Absolutely.
So good night, everyone. Good night, Grace. Thank you so very much once again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You are
Bye.
welcome. Bye.